Eren Jaeger from Attack on Titan, truly a tragic character in my opinion, one with many flaws to him as a human being because he is human, but yet also one that has compelled me immensely. Ironically, he was the reason why I stayed away from Attack on Titan for the longest time, but when reading it through the manga, I was really compelled by his character, and he ended up being my fourth favorite protagonist ever, and I think one of the greatest protagonists written, period. Now, me and my boy Josh are going to be doing a video over on his channel about Guts from Berserk and how he would fare surviving within the world of Attack on Titan, so I'll be leaving the link to his channel down in the description below. Make sure you subscribe to him and show him some love, and also if you are new to this channel, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, bell notifications, and all of the good stuff. And so, before we get into the video, cue the intro. As I stated at the beginning of the video, Eren was a character who went from one that I extremely disliked to, in my opinion, one of the best written protagonists ever. If there was a way to really break down Eren's development and his character growth, is it matches with the world of Attack on Titan. You start in Attack on Titan in this confined space, kind of trapped within a cage, tied down. And Eren is also tied down to the world that he lives in. Therefore, how far his character can go is a bit limited due to the limited experiences he has as a character. Although the early ones he goes through are extremely traumatic, Eren does not strike you as anything extremely special from the beginning. And because of the confined world that he lives in, and because of the style early on, it does seem that this story is going to be a rinse and repeat, and the potential for Eren's growth is not really apparent. However, as you continue to read Attack on Titan, the world expands, the reach of the characters expands, the moral dichotomy is made more apparent, the quote-unquote antagonists of the story are no longer just the Titans, therefore the antagonists themselves have more quality, and as the world and story of Attack on Titan grows, so does Eren. One of the interesting things, however, is that when you look on early on in Attack on Titan to what ends up happening with Eren, becomes the overall theme of his character throughout, but on a much larger scale. Early on in Attack on Titan, we see how Eren is the thing he hates the most. His desire is to kill and terminate all of the Titans. But yet, ironically, he turns out to be a Titan himself. He wants to attack on all Titans, but he is the Attack Titan. For the early majority of Attack on Titan, we see Eren as this impulsive, at times overly edgy teenager, although again, some of his past definitely does justify his behaviors. He seems quite indecisive, and he hasn't really cemented himself as a human being. However, given his age group, and if you look at real life, realistically, that's how we as teenagers tend to be. We don't really know what we want to be, who we want to be. All we tend to act on at times is our desires and passions without any real sense or direction in life. But even with that being said, there's something to Eren that I've always loved, not only in his character, but in honestly my favorite protagonist and just characters of all time, and that would have to be the strong ambition and the will to push and continue and to self-improve no matter what. Eren's character early on can definitely be defined by the philosophy I tend to have in life. He understands he cannot control what happens to him, all he can control is how he reacts to it. But again, as a flawed character as he is, his decision making during those times of reacting can be a little bit shaky, but nonetheless, he does not play the victim card, although he understands that he goes through suffering in the position that he is in. He does not point to everything around him in life and make excuses. He looks towards himself and makes himself stronger so he can come up with real solutions for what he sees as the real problem. Again, referring to Eren's character early on. We'll see how this kind of philosophy that I see is within his character, how it becomes twisted and changes into one of a more tragic take. Eren's character early on is also tied down by a few things. Even though it is very apparent early on that Eren can be very explosive if let be, he has people like Mikasa and Armin and all of the others within his group to kind of keep him chained down in order for him not to let loose and go crazy, as he did early on when he was first in his Titan form. But as this continues for a little bit, here's where the true tragedy of Eren's character seems to start. As he begins to gain more and more control of his Titan self, he seems to lose his human self. He begins to realize that there's more than just the Titans that's wrong in this world, that there's more evil than just the original simplistic monsters he was fighting, that the group he was fighting in and the people at times he was fighting for were tying him down and were not really allowing him to accomplish what he truly wanted. I think Eren going through all of these traumatic, horrible, bloody, and gory experiences ends up twisting the direction in which he wants to go in. Slowly, the allies that he once truly cared for, he begins to isolate himself from, and it all seems odd because there was a point in the story near the middle where it really seemed like Eren was truly forming this incredible bond, not only with his human self, but Titan self with the rest of the group. But that all changes when he finds out the truth, when he remembers more about his father, the tragedy of how he became who he is today, and why he's able to turn into a Titan. When he finally finds out that there's more to the world than what he was originally presented. I feel like part of Eren feels lied and deceived to, and that everything he once knew was all fake. Kinda like if the floor was pulled out from under him, and I think he finally got sick of the philosophy he once had. As I stated earlier, I definitely do think part of Eren's character truly believed in that he couldn't control what happened to him, but he could definitely control how he reacted, hence his ambition to push forward. But being fueled by anger, vengeance, and honestly just pure hatred, that ended up twisting Eren's view on life. This is where Eren grows up, becomes a man, and instead of before, where he could no longer control what happened to him in life, but in fact could only control the reactions he gave, now Eren would try to take life by the throat and make others react to him for once. Pretty much the meme is accurate. This man went from a character in the story to becoming the author itself. But yet when it comes to Eren's character and the tragedy of it, he really reminds me of another character, and let's see if you can think who it is. Although not entirely the same, the overall concepts and I think the tragedies to their characters can be a bit similar. Eren strikes me as this super ambitious person who wants to accomplish what he thinks is the greater good, but yet he's willing to do it by any means necessary, whether through manipulation and climbing the corpses of others. Where have I heard this before? But just like I usually say with this other character, quote unquote, if you could guess who it is, let me know in the comment section below. But with both of these characters, as is made very apparent by their dialogue and interactions with other characters, they understand that what they're doing isn't morally correct. They understand that the actions they are taking hurts innocent people, but yet they don't care anymore. They understand in their mind that in order to get the change that they want and to accomplish their goal, they're going to have to take shortcuts and things are going to have to get messy. When an ambitious individual or group of people are willing to violate moral codes in order to push for a cause to eliminate a quote-unquote oppressor, oftentimes throughout history have I noticed, they end up replacing that oppressor or that monster with an even bigger monster that is willing to eat anybody in its path, and it becomes this slippery slope of what is right and what is wrong. And as we've seen in Attack on Titan, that can lead to some very, very violent events. And I think the true sadness of it all, as we hear from Eren's character, is I don't think he ever desired for it to come to this. I don't think he ever wanted to say those words to Mikasa, but yet part of him needed to say what he said to Mikasa. This was the path he chose, and I think he understands that even though he might regret it, he has to push those feelings and close them under the gates in order to continue, because there is no longer going back. However, despite the twist on the worldview and philosophy Eren does have and the destructive tendencies it does have, Eren has stayed the same in his style of doing things. Although I don't think he was really manipulative at the beginning, that's something that plays more into his character later. That idea of constantly fighting and fighting and fighting and never giving up no matter what has stayed consistent. How far are you willing to go for change? For a righteous cause that you believe is good? And how will you know or guarantee that the change you cause will be beneficial to the world you live in? Will Eren ever really be satisfied with the outcome? Will he be able to rest in peace when it's all said and done? Or will he look back on it as an old man, if he even lives that long, and wishes he had done things differently? But now that I mentioned that, since he is a Titan shifter, he has to pretty much keep eating Titan shifters if he wants to continue living. Kinda like his methods in Attack on Titan, in order to prolong his life, others need to pay the price. In order to accomplish what he wants to accomplish, others, innocents even, need to pay the price. And what truly makes Eren's character growth and development seem all the more impressive is when you look back in Attack on Titan, you really see how it's all being set up. At the moment of reading it, it doesn't seem a little bit there. It seems like the doors are just busted open and everything changes, but as you look back on it, there are small hints given to where Eren's character might be going. Early on, if you were to ask me, Levi would have been my consensus #1 Attack on Titan character, and it wasn't even close. But as time has progressed and the more I've read the manga, I would have to say Eren takes the cake for me, undisputed now. And so, on top of the already tragic change to his character as we've seen with many of the heartbreaking moments that has come with Eren recently, I think the true tragedy will be in how his character has to end. I think he fully again understands that some of the actions he had to take aren't the ones that he wanted to, but the ones that he saw that he had to. And the only way for him to die in peace, I think, is for the redemption of some of the sins he has caused. In whatever way that means, and in whatever way he might do that, is yet to be seen. When it comes to Attack on Titan, who wins and who doesn't win, at this point doesn't really matter to me so much, just as long as Eren as a character is able to end in a great way that does not violate the themes of his character so far. But in the end, I only really see tragedy happening for Eren, despite him being my favorite character in the series, and again, one of the greatest protagonists of all time. If you liked this video, consider leaving a like and commenting, as well as subscribing and turning on the bell notifications. It only takes a little bit of time and it helps tremendously. Thank you so much for watching the video. This has been The Masked Man. Hope everyone has a blessed rest of the day, and peace.